hello to everyone who is in here. One, two, I'm missing three, and we'll give them a couple of minutes to get in. I have Miss 8. Okay, you are listed on here as 85 as the password, and I want to make sure of who you are. So I have Shonda. If I don't call your name, let me know who you are. I have Shonda Smalls, Andrea Ross, Miss Ethel Smith, Kawana, Linda, Tanishi. That's everybody. Who did I not call?
Teresa Bowen.
Okay, because your name. I'm gonna change your name. You said Teresa. Can you spell that for me?
Theresa.
Okay.
Thank
you.
Okay.
Thank you very much. Okay. So you guys, I emailed you the wrong meeting room, so I apologize for my tardiness. I was sitting and waiting in the other one. It's like, where is everybody? I had to go back and look at the invitation like, oh my God, how could I make, because that was the information for the first class, but it's okay. It's not an issue. But we have, okay. First question. Well, first of all, welcome. Thank you so very much for joining me with our Sew It Pro class. This is not strictly, but this is mostly beginners class. So if you have Sew It Pro, you've been using it for quite some time and you're pretty experienced, this may prove to be a little redundant. You might pick up a few tricks or what have you. But who in here in the class, and there's also, first of all, you don't have to have your camera on if you don't want to, which is fine. You don't have to verbally speak if you don't want to. You can use the chat. There is a chat option in here, as well as there's an option to like put up a raise your hand type thing if you have a question or what have you. All the little emotes are in the participants list. So if you tap on the screen and you see down where it says participants, you can click that and it'll pull up a list of everybody that's here. So that's a couple of ways you can get my attention, or if you just, holler out, hey, excuse me, can you repeat that, or whatever you want, it's fine. Of course, everybody in here is always respectful, so I don't have to worry about that. But just to go over some quick tidbits, this class is being recorded. So what we're going to do is save the recording immediately after the class. It takes it a while to save, and then I'm gonna edit like this beginning part. We're not gonna keep this in, but we'll go through the class part and we'll post that on YouTube, and I will email you the link to that. It may take me late this evening to get that done, or tomorrow, first of tomorrow, but I will get that to you. Also, I will include to you your file for your free font. You will get a free font from Stitchtopia. She sent to us, and you'll see that as we use it in the class today, or tonight rather, and you'll get your file in your email for that as well. So I'm excited to share all of that with you all. If you have any questions, you can type it in the chat or write it down for me, and we'll get to that in about the last 15 minutes of class. We're going to go a little over 9 o'clock, not by much, only because I didn't have this room set up. I was in the other room, so I want to make sure you guys get your full 60 minutes out of class. So my first question I would like to ask, and there will be a poll at the end of the class. If you want to take the poll, you can. You don't have to. You're not obligated. But I would like to ask, how long have you had Sew It Pro? Are you a professional? And thank you, Ms. Shonda. Are you a professional at it, or are you newbie to it?
Newbie? I'm a newbie.
Okay.
Newbie.
Cool. Y'all, that's what's up. Ms. Shonda, your hand is up. What's your question? I can't hear her. If you have a question, just speak up. It's fine with me.
Mama.
But once we get started in the class, what I'm going to do is mute everybody. So if you do need to ask me something, you can unmute yourself ask your question, or I'll say, you know, just hang on a second and then mute yourself back just to be on the safe side, because like the doorbell happens, dogs bark, all that cool stuff, and we want to make sure everybody can hear. All right. So let's go ahead and get started. I will also be sharing my screen periodically, so please let me know. I'll try and remember to say that I'm starting to share my screen. So if you don't see that, let me know, because there's a couple of ways to play with the views in Zoom, where you can go speaker view, or you can go, what did she call it? It's another option, right corner swap, share a screen with video or something like that. I'm just learning that part. So we want to make sure everybody can see everything. Okay. All right. So in getting started with Sew What Pro, one of the first things I want to make sure that I mention is going to be important for everyone who does embroidery. Okay, it doesn't matter what embroidery program you use. To be completely blunt with this aspect, you want to make sure that your files are saved in a very safe, secure location, such as a separate, you know what your downloads folder is. If you use Chrome, you have a downloads folder. Well, you want to make sure that you have an embroidery folder somewhere, and you know that every aspect of your embroidery goes into that folder. Well, in using that folder, you're going to have embroidery, like for instance, the way mine is set up, it's embroidery. And then I have designs, and then I have fonts, okay? And the reason why I'm bringing that out is because depending on how you add lettering into Sew What Pro, having those separate folders for your fonts is going to be really, really important and save you a whole heck of a lot of stress and headache. So we'll get into that a little bit later, but make sure you have a dedicated folder for all embroidery related stuff. It helps also with backing up, okay, and finding your designs. So you want to make sure you're backing up all of your designs and fonts once a month, one time to the cloud, and then somewhere on a hard drive or something. And the only reason I'm saying this is because I really don't want y'all in tears like so many people later on, their computer crashes or whatever, and you lose all of that. But it's really going to be important once we start adding lettering into Sew What Pro. So let's get started. I'm going to open up Sew What Pro, and I'm going to share my screen with that. Let's see, Sew What Pro. And like I said, just let me know if you cannot see my screen, okay? So here we have Sew What Pro open up. And with Sew What Pro, you have your menu options across the top, and you have a lot of buttons as well. And these buttons will prove to be quite helpful as you go through. Once you start using these functions regularly, the buttons will be self-explanatory, and you'll be able to understand how they work. So let's go ahead, and we're going to bring in our first design. So I'm actually going to change how I'm sharing my screen. I'm going to take you to one of my favorite websites first. And my favorite design website is embroiderylibrary.com. This is the way their website is set up at this exact moment in time. Embroidery Library, I don't get any type of credit or anything for referring people there, but I refer people there because their designs are top notch. I haven't had a bad design from Embroidery Library yet. I have not. And they have a sale every week on a set amount of designs, very affordable. $1 and what is this, $39.40 per design. They have these sales regularly, so I absolutely love them for that. One of the other things I like about the Embroidery Library, and if you're following along with Sew What Pro, you can do this as well. If you go to designs by category and select free designs, once a month they have free designs that they offer. So October the 1st, our new designs are here. And then November the 1st, we'll get a new set of designs for free. But the one we're going to use in our project today is this one here. It's the kitty heart. Absolutely adorable. So we're going to grab this kitty, okay? And it comes in 4 different sizes. If you have a 4x4 embroidery machine, here's your 4x4 size right here. But even if you have a 4x4 machine, I'm sure at some point in time you may want to upgrade your machine. I suggest go ahead and get all of the sizes. They're free. Why not? And then that way you have them on your computer. So I've already gotten the 4x4 earlier today in the class. So I'm going to go ahead and get the other sizes while I'm in here to show you how the zip folder works. Okay, so here we're back to the basics. We have 3 designs that we're going to purchase. And they're nice enough that you can put your format, whatever you want, and here are the 3 sizes. So we're going to go ahead and buy this and check out. Okay. Now, once you purchase a design from a website, some websites will let you download them unzipped, but most of them have a zipped version of all of their designs. So I'm going to go ahead and download the zipped version of all of these designs, and it's going to save in my downloads folder. Let me make sure you can see this. I'm just going to switch to my screen. So it's going to go to my downloads folder, which is right here. And the file name is a number, 1639865. I'm just mentioning this so that you can be used to, once you pulling designs from websites, to go and check for or how to remember where your stuff is going. So let's go ahead and hit save. And it's down here in the lower right hand corner is our zip file. Google Chrome makes it easy. So we're just going to click on that zip file and it's going to open up our zipped folder. So now we're going to unzip this. Okay, so we're going to click up under where it says extract and extract all. I'm only going through this for those who may not be familiar with how simple it is to make sure you're extracting your designs before you try to use them in Sew It Pro. I get that question a lot. I bought these designs and I can't open them. Have you extracted your designs? Have you unzipped the folder? A lot of times the answer is no. But here, this is how, these are the steps that you go through to unzip your designs, okay? So I'm going to go ahead and minimize the website and go back into Sew It Pro. So now let's open up the kitty cat design. And what that's going to do is you're going to hit your open, and then mine went into my downloads. And I know here is the file folder where the designs went, but I want that one 4x4, which I already downloaded it earlier. So I'm gonna go ahead and open him up from where I bought him earlier, just the 4x4, because with you guys, I bought the other 3 sizes. All right. So here's our kitty cat. I blew him up, and I'm gonna show you how to do that really quick. I didn't get to show the other class. When it first opened up, it was right here. So I came down all the way down to the lower right hand corner under where this says stitch distribution. Down here at the bottom, you see it says 100%. There's a minus and a plus, and it says zoom. Okay, I don't know how well you can see that. It's at the bottom lower right hand corner. You can drag this black bar either up or down, or you can just click. Or you can click the plus and minus to make it bigger or smaller. So that's how I blew him up. But this is a 4x4 hoop that he opened up in. Why did he open up in a 4x4 hoop? Well, because that is the size hoop that fits that design. It won't go any smaller than that. It won't open up in a smaller hoop. It's going to open up in the size that it belongs in. So that being the case, how do you change the size of the hoop? Say, for instance, you are working on a 5x7 embroidery machine and you want to make him bigger, or you're working with the repositional hoop and you want it bigger. So you would just go right up here to where it says adjust hoop size and position. All right, it's this green block with the black border around it like a little hoop, or you can do Control H on a Windows keyboard, or up here in options you can select hoops. Same thing, all 3 will take you to the hoops option. So when we open up our hoops, it's going to show you these are all of your hoop options right here in this box. Okay, so notice this bar of tabs right down here is every brand of embroidery machine for the most part under the sun. Okay, so there's Brave Lock, Bernina, Husqvarna, Janome, Melco. They're all here. And what the programmer for So What Pro did was find out the hoops that go with each machine and pre-program them in there for you. Now, usually So What Pro would be listed in inches. And this throws off a lot of people because they're like, well, I'm looking for the 5x7 and this says 7.09 by 5.12, but I want 5x7. Well, he first of all was nice enough to put the 7x5 out there. But if I click on millimeters, what you'll find out is these numbers, these are more simple numbers, like 180 by 130. That's the actual size of the hoop. It's 180 millimeters by 130 millimeters. It's actually not 5x7. It just, they converted those measurements for us. So I suggest to people to leave it in millimeters because a lot of your embroidery machine hoops will have the millimeter size on it, not the 5x7 or the 4x4. They usually have your millimeters on there. Okay, so your 4x4 hoop is actually 100 by 100, but he also put 4x4 on there. Now, in some instances, like this 100 by 160, it doesn't have the conversion. So then you can just click on inches and it'll show you what that conversion is. Okay. So once we go back to converting, the 4x4 is the size that it is now. So I'm going to make it a little bit larger and create it for the 5x7 hoop. One of the other questions in the other class was, how do you make your hoop go portrait or landscape or up and down versus side to side? So here is the 5x7 options right here. So here's 5x7. Notice it says 5x7, and this one says 7x5. So all it did was just change the measurements so that you know width comes first. So this one will be 5 inches wide. So let's click that and you'll see that it's actually the longer hoop. So it's 5 inches wide, but 7 inches tall. And then we'll go back and click right beside it. It's 7x5. And once we click that, then it's the long way. So that's how you change the orientation of your hoop in So What Pro. Very simple to do. And that is the case with all of the sizes of hoops. So even if you wanted to do 9x8, notice down here, or right here, the 8x13 rather. 8x13 is first, then you have 13x8. So the hoop sizes are all side by side. Okay. Now, if you ever click or get to working with your embroidery in So What Pro and you have this crazy looking black box that pops up in your hoop, and in most instances that's the hoop insert. You just want to open up hoop insert and then take the display hoop insert off. A real quick point to bring out that was not brought out in the other class, but it's important to know. Okay, so before we start working with this, first of all, let me ask and make sure there aren't any questions. Does anyone have any questions before we get into a little bit deeper? Miss Teresa. And make sure you unmute because I got you muted, or you're muted.
Okay. You said, you mentioned the hoop insert. What is the purpose of it?
The purpose of the hoop insert is, like, for instance, I know the hat hoop attachment that goes with the 4x4 machine is smaller than the 4x4. So you would put that measurement in to make sure that whenever you have an additional part inside of your hoop that you don't go outside of it, or you may want to restrict your own size. I don't know why you would want to. But that was the one way I saw it did come in handy, because even though my hoop with my machine was 4x4, That little hat hoop insert was a lot smaller,
Okay. All
but
right.
I don't ever use it. I
Good to
don't
know.
know. Yeah, I
Okay.
don't know why anybody would use it. I really don't.
Okay. Thanks.
Was there any other questions? Okay. So we'll move right along. And I want to point out before we even get started with editing this design in any way, one thing you want to really get into the habit of doing with whether you use Sew What Pro or any editing program is save your project before you start making edits to it. Why am I saying that? So this design we just opened up, and if you look here at the tab, right here under in the upper right hand corner, this tab is showing the file name. This kitty cat's name was m32253.pes. That's the file name. Another place to find the file name is over in the right hand corner. When you click on him, usually his file name is right up here where it says project. I'm not sure why the file name is not showing up there, but it will a little bit later on. And then up here across the very top for the window itself, up here at the very top, it shows the file name again and how many stitches it is and the hoop size that you're using. Okay. All of this is good so that you can make quick reference if you need to later on as you're working on your project. But once we make edits to this cat, any design that you pull up, once you start making edits, if you go file and save, then what will happen is you will overwrite the original file that you downloaded from the website. So if you wanted to use just this file by itself and no edits to it, you'll have to go back to the website and download it again, or go into your email and download it again. So what is highly suggested is before you start making edits, go ahead and go file, save as. And you'll see as I did right here, you can add to the file name and just do dash edit. Or say for instance, you're making shirts for your children, you can do dash one child's name, and then the next time, the next edit you do, you can do dash that child's name so that you'll know which file belongs to them with their name and in their colors or whatever the case may be. It just makes life a lot easier. And then if you ever need to revert back to the original is right there and you'll know which one is the right one. So we suggest that you do that and then just go ahead and save it. And then as you go along, save your edits. Okay. So that's one point I definitely wanted to bring out. So going into changing and editing your designs, you have a couple of options for people will tell you of a couple of options of resizing your designs. And one of the easiest ways is common to Windows, and you may be tempted to use it, but I'm going to suggest that you don't. Let's look over here in the project pane on the right hand side over here where we have our color stock, which is deep green. This is the color that this thread, even though it looks black, is actually deep green. And then
Can I ask a
notice up
question?
above it, it says selected stitches, 10,916 stitches. Okay.
May I ask a question?
Yes.
I'm sorry. All our pictures is on that side on my computer. How can I change it? Because I can't see any of what you're doing now.
There should be three or some little boxes in the upper right hand corner of your pictures. You can put it on, I think, speaker view or something like that, and it'll take the little boxes away. It'll change your view.
Okay.
Or if in the right corner, someone said swap and share a screen with video, maybe that might fix it.
Okay.
Did it work?
I just have you now, so I'm fine.
Okay, but can you see my screen?
I can see you. Oh, well, hold on. Let me figure this out. I hit a swap thing.
Yes, hit the swap.
I hit the swap, and then I just see you, but not your screen.
Okay, can you try the swap again and see if make sure that you can?
And then it goes back, but it's fine. I figured it out. I can just move it. I can just move it around.
Oh, but I still want you to see the desktop though. Can you see the desktop?
I can see you. Yes, ma'am. I can see you.
Okay,
yes.
cool. Okay. So let me go back to my full screen actually. So when you are working with resizing a design, Sew Up Pro makes it really, really easy to resize a design. Now, yes, if you, as you see with me hovering over the box around the cat in the upper right hand or in any of the corners, you'll see that it'll turn to arrows so that you can actually make it bigger by pulling out those corners. This is not how you want to resize a design. And the reason for that is because, as you see, it did make it bigger, but notice back over here in the project pane in the upper right hand corner, you still have 10,916 stitches. That's not the right amount of stitches for this size embroidery. Kind of put it along the lines of if you were knitting a sweater for, you just finished knitting a sweater for a kid, a 5-year-old, but now you want to knit yourself a matching sweater. Are you going to use the same amount of yarn that you use to knit the 5-year-old sweater to knit yours? That would be crazy. You'd have all kind of empty spaces in your sweater because you're trying to stretch out that yarn to make it fit you. So the same principle applies when you are resizing an embroidery design. You don't want to just stretch it. You need those stitches to increase the larger the size of your design, or you want the stitches to decrease the smaller the design goes. So therefore, you go up into your tools option in the toolbar, and then you come down to resize pattern. This is the correct way to resize your embroidery designs. So click resize pattern, and then it pulls up a box that gives you a couple of options available to you. You can increase or decrease by percentage. You can leave this locked where it says lock aspect ratio, and no matter how you change this number, the second number will adjust automatically to keep it uniform as you blow it up or make it smaller. Also, you definitely want to make sure auto adjust stitch density is selected as you resize your pattern. And the reason why is because you want your amount of stitches and the density of your stitches to match what it's supposed to stitch out. Because if you don't and you make it smaller and you leave all of those stitches, well, it's going to make a really dense design that won't stitch out properly, and it might even break several needles as you're trying to stitch that out. So definitely auto adjust your stitch density, and you don't have to do it in measure of percent in initial size. You can actually do by size. So this is 98 millimeters by 85.4. Say if I wanted it no wider than 90, I can type 90 millimeters, okay? And then because the aspect ratio is locked, the height automatically adjusted to match what the original size of that design is. And when you hit OK, notice it did shrink just a little weedy bit, but notice what else happened. In the upper right hand corner, instead of 10,900 something stitches, now we're down to 10,800 something stitches because it went smaller. So the amount of your stitches should have decreased because you're going with a smaller design. So keep that in mind. When you want to resize, you can just make sure that you go through tools and resize pattern in order to do it. Another rule of thumb I like to point out to folks is when you resize a design, try to not resize any larger or any smaller than 10% of the original design. The reason behind that is because as someone who digitizes, when we digitize at a set size to make sure that it's optimal when it stitches out at that size. So when you're playing with the sizing, you may find sometimes that it won't stitch out as cleanly. And that's an unfortunate side effect of messing with the size of the design. Sometimes you don't have any issues with some designs. Like this design is so light and airy, you may not have as many issues if you blew it way up. But just keep that in mind. Just if you're going to go larger or smaller than 20%, what I would suggest is do a test stitch out on something that's not important. And then if it stitches out great, then stitch it out on your project that you're trying to put it on, okay? So please keep that in mind as well. So if we're going smaller 20%, then that would drop us down to 80% to make it smaller. That limit of 20%. Okay.
Question.
Yes.
Okay. I have, at some point, I have resized on my machine. Is that not a good thing to do?
On your machine, you can, especially if it's like I know with both of my brother machines, it's built into it that the designs and the lettering that's built into the machine, you can resize it up and down and all of that jazz. Some machines are intelligent enough to where you can blow up or shrink a design and it not have any issues. But no, you shouldn't have any issues resizing on the machine itself. But Sew It
Okay.
Pro allows you to see it in person.
Okay. So it's not, it wouldn't be a problem if I did it on the machine. I
It should not
have
be.
both of my machines are brothers. I have,
Okay. Okay.
single and a 6 needle.
Multi-needle,
So
right. It
yes.
shouldn't be an issue.
Okay.
But again, when you're talking about resizing designs, sometimes you'll have those gray areas where it's like, wow, I didn't know it was gonna stitch out like that, because it actually, and then I'm not sure if I know you can on the single needle machine pull up the design and it tells you how many stitches. So if you blow it up, did your stitch count increase? You see, so I
Yes,
don't
it
know
does. Yeah.
how that will work, but definitely check that out if you
Because
do.
when
Okay.
I tried that. I purchased that was the question I asked on one of the Sunday evenings internet thing, on the YouTube group thing. What I did, I purchased a bear, and when I purchased it, I purchased it at size 3. But when I went over to my machine, I'm like, oh, I want him a little bit bigger, and I changed it, and you could see that it changed all the way around. My count did not change. The bear was bigger, but the
it didn't
stitch
stitch
going
out as
around
well.
jacked up. But so that's what one of my big questions, and that's what I really needed to know, how to do that part. So thank you.
You're welcome. Yeah, definitely resizing through Sew It Pro especially allows you to see the stitch out a lot better than you would on the machine. You kind of don't know how it's going to turn out until you stitch it. But
Right.
on Sew It Pro, you can always go to view and you can look at texture, and this is what it looks like. You know, it'll show you if there's gaps and stuff. It's pretty, and then if need be, you can blow it up and look at it even closer to see how it's going to stitch out on Sew It Pro.
Okay.
Sew It Pro is pretty cool with that. So now that we've learned that we can resize, how do you merge another design on with this one? So say for instance, you had this cat, but you wanted 2 little small cats in the corners. Okay. So in that instance, anytime you have a design on your desktop already on the space ready to be used, you don't want to open another design, because if you choose open, then what it will do is just open up a whole nother tab. So let's click open on the original file, and notice now I have this file and now I have this tab. There's 2 different tabs open, and that's not what we want. So we'll go back to the original, and what we'll do is go file and merge. So just remember, when you're merging 2 things together, that's what we're trying to do. We're not trying to open up a whole nother one. We're going to merge what we already have. So let's click merge now, and then I'm going to click on the same file, the same cat, and now here we have 2 of them. And then I'm going to resize him and make him smaller. I'm going to shrink him actually 70% and make him much, much smaller. And so now we have 2 on the same desktop. You also have the option of selecting what's there. Like we have 1, so instead of going to merge and opening up another cat and resizing him all over again, you can select him. He's stitch number 2, color stop number 2, and then go to edit and copy. Oh, I hit cut. I knew I was gonna do that. My hand always slips not do that. That is crazy to me, even in Microsoft Word. Okay, so we'll go to edit. Now we'll do copy. And then you hit select off of him and then do paste. So now we have 2. Drag him over to where you want him to be. So you can copy and paste in Sew What Pro. And
Can you
now
do
we
that one
have
more
3
time?
color stops.
Can you do that one more time, please?
I sure can. So we're going to take this one away, and we'll take the first one away. So here's our original that we resized. Oh no, this is the original at 4x4. I apologize. So here's the original. And now what we want to do is merge the second cat. So here's the original file. And I'm going to open, and notice he's the same size, right? So we're going to resize him. I'll go to Tools, Resize Pattern, and I'm going to make him 30% smaller, so 70%. You got to do math, unfortunately. Y'all know how I feel about math. And then click OK. So that shrinks him down. And so now, to keep from going through those steps again, just select the cat. Make sure the one you want to duplicate is selected. Hit Edit, Copy, or Control V. Click somewhere off of the cat. You don't want him selected again. Just click in a blank space and then click Paste. And so now there's 2 cats. So when you grab him, and it also helped you see that he came successfully, because now there's 3 color stops instead of the first cat and just the second cat. The 2 color stops, now there's 3. Okay, so you can copy and paste the cat. So now that we've copied and pasted these designs, let's go into, and all I'm doing is selecting and hit delete on my keyboard to take them away. Now let's talk about adding lettering. Now, generally adding lettering would be, and what's the word I'm trying to say? That would probably be a beginner's thing, because most people want to add names and stuff to the designs. But we're also going to encroach a little bit on an advanced class. The reason why is because there's the ability in other embroidery editing programs where you can type in letters on the keyboard and put your words that you want on an embroidery thread on there by typing it with the keyboard. Well, for the longest time, Sew What Pro didn't have that feature, but they've just recently added it. And there's quite a bit of steps involved in that, and we'll get to that here shortly. But to start out with, I want to point out something else that I would suggest that you don't use with Sew What Pro. How often would I say that about something that I love? Don't use that part. That part is tragic. Well, there is a part to Sew What Pro that doesn't work as well. And the reason why is because it was added when Sew What Pro was very first put out on the scene. Okay, so if you go up here to Tools, there's an option right here called Sew Lettering. Sew Lettering was a feature that was added to Sew What Pro because, as a matter of fact, 4 years ago, roughly 4 or 5 years ago, when I first started doing embroidery fonts were super expensive to purchase. They were very, very expensive. To buy a font sometimes it was $20, sometimes it was $15. It was expensive. I was really sad. And then found a website, I think it was called Jolson's Embroidery, and theirs were like $1 each. I was just ecstatic because it's so hard to find a good font that was affordable. Fast forward now 4 or 5 years, everybody have fonts for inexpensive. It's not difficult to find them. So, but back then, to make it easy on people, Sew What Pro allowed you to use the fonts that were built into your computer. So if I were to scroll through these lists of fonts on my computer, these are the ones that are installed on my computer. These are not embroidery fonts at all. These are just regular TTF fonts. So what Sew What Pro was allowing you to do was type in just on your keyboard, and then you could hold on, because I need, oh, there we go, change the text size. Then it would auto digitize your embroidery for you. Okay, and that it doesn't do it very well. It does not digitize fonts very well at all, as a matter of fact. And unfortunately, even digitizing a font, I use now Sew Pro has a sister program called Sew Art, and it will auto digitize images for you. I don't even suggest that you auto digitize fonts in that program. There's a digitizing program that I paid. Wilcom Hatch is right at $1,000 for that program. I don't use that one for digitizing fonts. The software program that they have for digitizing fonts is like a couple of $1,000 because there's just so many steps and so much involved in digitizing fonts. So it's better to use the right tool for the right job. Auto digitizing for fonts just really isn't it. Now, I'm not saying that because this doesn't work at all. It was a means for folks to get by in a somewhat affordable way, but the results are not guaranteed. That's pretty much the way I want to point that out. Because it's not guaranteed, use it at your caution. You know, I would say if you wanted to try this, then try it and stitch it out on something that doesn't matter. Don't use it for your project. If it stitches out on something that doesn't matter really well, then hey, then you found a font that actually does work pretty decent with this feature. But otherwise, and that's going to be rare, but otherwise, I wouldn't necessarily suggest using it. It's better to use a pre-purchased font that was digitized perfectly for embroidery, okay? So to use that, there's two ways I suggest that you add prepaid fonts to Sew Pro. There's two ways. So the first way is the way I've been using for a very long time, and it's second nature to me, but I'll show you the other way to add fonts as well. So what we're going to do, the way I'm used to doing it, you have to merge in the very first letter. All right, so let's go to File, and then we'll merge. And I'm going to go to where my fonts are. And my fonts are here in the embroidery fonts folder. And I'm going to go to Banana Cupcakes is the name of the font that I'm going to use. And I'm going to do actually, let's not go do Banana Cupcakes. I'm going to show you, this is Juniper. Juniper is the font that you're going to get for free. So I'll let you see some of the letters in that. It's a pretty cursive font. Actually very well digitized. It's a really cool font. Okay, so I wanted to show you that. But we'll go back to Banana Cupcakes because as you see here, I have the main folder, Banana Cupcakes, which is the name of the font. But once you open that up, I have each font size in its own size folder. That's going to be very helpful to you as you start adding fonts to Sew Pro or using fonts in Sew Pro. So let's go ahead and select the 1-inch folder, and I'm going to type in the first or add in the first letter. So the first letter was merged in, okay? So now, instead of going through those steps, opening up the folder and all of that jazz, Sew Pro already saved that folder for you. So now let's go to the lettering right up here. And on the right hand side over here, it shows the icons in a blue box. And let's click that. Now notice here is the file name, Embroidery Fonts, Banana Cupcakes, 1.5 inches. But this is too big. I can't see all of my alphabet. So click on alphabet mode because now we're trying to type in stuff in an alphabet. So once you click alphabet mode, notice now all of the letters show up, but it's still only the 1.5-inch size letters. Okay. So we're going to go ahead and double click each letter. I'm sorry, single click each letter that you want to add. So I'm going to add the letters, each one that I want to put in the program. This K is the wrong K. Let me add the right K. All right, so now I have the letters that I want. clicked on the 1-inch folder, didn't I? It opened up the 1.5. That's not right, because I had it open already. I mean, before, from earlier. Okay, and so now as you see, I clicked on it and they all came in a row, but I'm going through and adjusting each letter to make sure that it's lined up the way I want. Once I have all of the letters that I want, I close out the alphabet panel, make it go away, so that I can work with each color stop, each letter separately on its own, because I'm done with adding letters. I don't want to add anymore. So I had to change the K, and the K is last. This is another tip I didn't give the other class, so I'm gonna show you guys because I need to correct this. So the K is last after the first few letters. So select the letter that you, or the line that you want to move, and if you hold down your shift key and drag it, select it and drag it, you can move it to where it's supposed to be. Move it to the stop color, the color stop that you want it to be. So now it's going to stitch in the right order. Okay. So if I want to select all of that, I can drag a box around it, but notice it's selecting the cat too. I don't want that. So most instances, I'll start with the first letter, hold down Control, and click the rest that I want to move and adjust, and then I can make adjustments as necessary. And another thing pointed out to the other class was these little black boxes in the middle, right here at the top, middle at the bottom, and in the corners. Let me select this again. And in the corners, this lets me know this is the center of this word. So I take the center line of the whole grid and then line up the entire word to center it and make sure that it's where it needs to be. And as you're working with your designs, your lettering, all of that, you want to make sure that it is within the boundary of this brown on this box. Don't, if I move it down here and you see how this Y is just below, then it's not going to save the file. It's not going to stitch out properly. So you want to make sure that your letters are within that boundary. Okay. Do you have any questions before we get into merging letters and then the other font? You can just ask if you would like. Go ahead.
I wanted to ask you, do the letters stay grouped or do I have to do another step? Like once I set them there, do they stay like that?
There's another step, and that's what we're getting ready to get into.
Okay. Thank you, ma'am.
You're welcome. You're welcome. Definitely another step. Any other questions?
Nope, I'm good.
Okay.
Okay, I have a question. I have my So What Pro program pulled up, and so I don't have all of the commands lit up on mine. What does that mean?
If you don't have them all lit up, then do you have a design open?
No.
You have to have a design or something open on in the program in order for everything to light up.
Okay, that's good. Okay, I've had this for about 2 years when I first got my machine, but I haven't been successful at using it. So I really appreciate this.
Change that today.
It is changing now. It's not really as hard as I thought it was.
No, it's not. It's not at all. As a matter of fact, even like with your question on merging the letters, all you have to do, you hold down whatever you want to merge. Actually, there's a couple of ways to do it. Easy enough. We're going to not even select anything. If you go up here to edit in the menu, at the top, go to edit and then join threads. Okay.
Oh.
It gives 3 options: join all threads of the same color, or join all adjacent threads of the same color, or join threads of the same color starting at thread number whatever. Okay. I'll show you an example of why you would want to use either one. So if you join all threads of the same color, then it'll just go ahead and join all of them. But adjacent, let's go ahead and do that. But then, so as you see, now you have the deep green, which is the cat, or I'm gonna change them to purple to make it easier for us. And then you have the black, which is the name. So that's one way to merge, which was all of the same color. Put you back purple. So now what I'm going to do is go back into the lettering, and I'm going to put my name in here. And whenever you are working, you want to make sure that like I said, everything is within the boundary that it's supposed to be. So I'm just going to put my name right here. It doesn't matter where it is, because this is just showing you how to work with the letters. So now that I move this up here, look at all of these are now black. So say for instance, I don't want my name and this name to stitch all together as one. I want them to stitch separately. So I can come up here to join threads, and I can join just my name, which would be the last three, and leave this one all together. So the last three starts with number 7, right? So let's go to edit, join threads of the same color starting at thread number 7, and hit OK. Now look, my name is all one, but the rest of this is separate. So maybe I want to go back and edit some more with these letters separate, but now I've joined my name, so I can't move these letters separately. They're all together. Okay, so that's another option. Another feature would be, I'm just hitting the back button. Say for instance, let's move the cat down to here, and notice the cat is in between the black now. So you would go to edit and join, and that's where you would do the thread colors that are adjacent to each other. Okay, so for instance, trying to think of a better way to do this. Let's make this pink and that pink and this pink. So I could do join threads, all threads of the same color, and now black will all stitch together, pink will all stitch together, and purple will all stitch together. Or we can go join threads and just the ones that are adjacent to each other. So now these two pinks didn't merge together because they weren't side by side. So these two were side by side on this list. So they merged together, but on this list, the E was by itself. It was in between the purple and the black, so it didn't merge with this pink up here. So you can utilize that in different fashions to have your design stitch out in a way that saves your machine from having to change, or you from having to change colors all the time. You know, like it needs to stitch out in that order, but now you got to switch from pink to purple to pink, then black to black, and all. So to keep that, you can just merge all of the colors the same color, and it'll stitch all of the one color, then stitch all of the second color, and then stitch all of the third color. So yes, you can merge, but keep in mind, once you merge your colors together, you can't edit your letters anymore after that. You can't adjust the letters, move them around, and all that jazz. You also, because there's a arch text, arranged text on a curve, you won't be able to use that once your letters are joined together. They have to be separate. Okay, but that is a feature of a advanced class, the arranging on the text. And as I mentioned to them, there will be a part 2, a more advanced class coming up. But for right now, we're getting through all of the preliminaries and making sure that this is going to go like it's.
So let me ask a question. Right.
So okay, what's your question?
So are you not going to show the art? That's what I needed because I'm working on a project that I need to. I wanted it to go around on a bear. So I've been waiting for this class to find out how to make it go
Yeah,
around the
no,
bear's stomach. Yeah.
that is more of an advance. I'll see if I
Okay.
can't touch on it for you at the end.
Okay.
It's not part of the class, but
Okay.
that was an advanced feature.
Okay. I mean, I can wait. I can wait until you get to it.
You fine. You
Okay.
fine. I don't mind showing you. But that's how you merge letters. And that's how you add letters. But there's another way. So for those who would prefer to type in the letters on the keyboard, this part is really actually an advanced part, but it's also basic too, because everybody wants to add letters to the designs that they do when they're making them in Sew It Pro. So how do you do that? There's a feature in here called EMB lettering. EMB lettering. So using EMB lettering is a lot of steps, and this is going to mean that you will need to make plans. Sit down, nice cup of coffee, a quiet day, you feel like tackling this head on, and just chill out and get it done. This is the step. But once you do this, it's done and you don't have to do it anymore. And you can just type all your letters in. But you actually have to load these in yourself. Okay. So Sew It Pro doesn't take BX fonts. The other program does, but you're paying $200, $300, $400 for that program. So this one, you're able to do it yourself. So going back to that, you would open up, go to your tools, and then click on EMB lettering. Okay, and it opens up this whole separate page. And now right here, this drop down box are the fonts that you already have added. So I've already added 2 fonts to this folder. One is the Banana Cupcakes 1 inch, and the other is Banana Cupcakes 1/2 inch. So the way this program, this part of the program works is you click on 1/2 inch, and then you type in what you want. Okay. I just typed that in on the keyboard. This is that font. This is that size. This is the text. And then we go File, and we hit Save. Then you go File and then Close. And once you close it out, here it is right here on your design. It's already added. There's your fonts. They're all separated. And then you can edit as you need to. So let me move this over a little bit. Whoops. Move this over. And then I can select, hold down Control, select these 2 because they're a little bit higher than the T's. I don't want them that high. So again, you'll still have to do a little bit of editing with your letters to get them where they need to be. But this would be how you would do it. And bring them down in line with the other letters. Okay. I need to put that on a line to help even it up better. You can bring it down to a line on the grid to help you line stuff up, and then go from there. But when you're adding letters and doing all that stuff and typing it in, sometimes this to me would be more tedious than the way I was doing it before, because once I type this in, I have to come back and edit. Whereas the other way, once I add them in, they're in on the line that I put it in on. And I don't have to necessarily do this. But some folks want to type. The convenience of typing far outweighs coming back and lining this stuff up afterwards. But it can be done. So you can type. But the work that you have to go through to get to this point is where the challenge comes in. So let's go back to edit. I'm sorry, not edit, tools, and go to EMB lettering. And right beside the list of the fonts that are already in here, we're going to hit this T with the plus sign so that we can add a font, because my banana cupcakes 2-inch wasn't in here. Okay, so let's go file, let's go new, and I'm going to select, not 2-inch, sorry, 1-inch. Let's open up the 1-inch file folder. And here's my 1-inch banana cupcakes font, but it's not mapped to my keys yet. So you actually manually have to map these to your keyboard. Like I said, some folks, this is perfectly fine for them. They don't mind going through this the one time so that they don't have to go through it anymore, especially for fonts that they use very frequently. This can be helpful. So now you want to make sure that this red line goes directly up under your font letters and characters. If they don't, I'll show you how to fix it. So that you saw how when I typed "this is a test" and all the letters were like, some were up and some were down. This is how you fix that. All right, so first you got to line up your red line. The red line is lined up. So now let's click somewhere in an empty spot to clear that out. And now I'm going to select the 0. Once you select your 0, press the 0 on the keyboard of your computer. And notice now the 0, 1, 2, 3 have their mapped key automatically added up at the top. Because once you hit the 0, this program recognizes that the rest of these are numbers. So now your numbers are all mapped with this particular font. But notice the ampersand, the apostrophe, the asterisk, the @ symbol, none of those are mapped. So you have to manually map those. So I select the ampersand, hit shift, add the ampersand, add the apostrophe. Now we're going to add the asterisk. You see, you have to go through and map these. It's not difficult, but as I mentioned before, there's a little bit of tedious to it, because like, especially with this particular font, she was kind and she went ahead and digitized all those extra characters. A lot of times the fonts that you purchase and digitize won't have all those extra characters. It'll generally have numbers, capital letters, and lowercase letters, and you don't have to go through all of that. But in this instance, she goes above and beyond with her fonts, and it's included. So now we've made it to the capital letters. So I'm going to hold down shift, hit capital A, and notice now all of the capital letters have their respective key stroke added. After the Z comes the comma, so we'll do the comma. Then we have, I don't even know what that key is called, tilde, not sure. We'll add that, or the dash. Then we have a $sign. Now notice how the $sign is just below the line. You also can, if I'm not mistaken, click, yep, you click off of it and click and hit your arrow key, up arrow key, and it moves it up so that now it's, you know, lined up a little bit better and where it's supposed to be. Here's your equal sign, so we'll hit the equal key, exclamation, and so on and so forth until you have all of these mapped the way they're supposed to be. And now we'll do our lowercase. All I gotta do is hit the lowercase a through Z is done. Let's finish out with the parentheses, the %, period, the +, and question mark, and our slash. And now we're done. It wasn't a whole heck of a lot, but it was a lot. There was a lot of steps to go through. But now I can type the letters like I want to. Matter of fact, I can pull this Y down so that once I type it, it'll line up with the rest of these letters. So there's some other of your own touch-ups that you can do. So in that aspect, I do like it, but for the most part, that's a lot to go through. Then you'll save it as the name of what it is, which is the Banana Cupcakes 1-inch, and I'll hit save. Okay. And then at this point, we can add another font or we can close it out. And so now when I hit this drop down, my 1 inch is there. Now that I think about it, it was already there. I didn't do the 1.5 inch. But that's how you add a font into your embroidery letters if you wanted to type them on the keyboard. Okay. So for the most part, that was it. There's a couple more things that I did want to bring out, and that's changing the colors, which I briefly touched on but didn't really do so. You can change multiple colors, not that one, by holding down the control key, clicking each color stop, and then coming down to the bottom and selecting the color that you want it to be. You can change the color that way. When you are down here in the colors, your thread palette is, if you click there, notice there's a whole list of thread manufacturers right here. The reason for this is because, like for instance, I use Madeira color thread. So by selecting Madeira color, I know this fluorescent pink, I can find my thread number of the thread that I'm using and select it based on thread number and know that this is what goes with the design that I'm stitching out, so that I can make sure that my colors match to the actual thread that I'm using. So that would be a reason why you want to make sure that your correct thread brand is selected. You don't absolutely have to, because in most instances, red is red, pink is pink. But if you're doing those fine-tuned colors and you want to refer back to your design with the colors that you use, this is one good way to make sure that you always remember the color, the thread and color number, thread brand and color number that you used in a design. Okay. So for the most part, that was pretty much it with the beginners. If you don't have any other questions, I will try to address the arch of the text. Does anyone have any questions, or did I go too fast?
No. Thank you, Missy. That was really good.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
It was very good. Thank you.
Very informative. Thanks.
You're welcome. It's I love Sew It Pro. I mean, for the cost versus what you're getting, Sew It Pro is an excellent option for editing embroidery. It is not for digitizing at all, but it does work very good as an editor of embroidery designs. So let's touch real quick on arching text. Now, I know some of arching text. I haven't done it, but I do know a little bit about it. So you select the text, make sure that your letters are separated. Okay. And then we go up to arrange text on a curve. Now, from what I understand, this has been updated, and it's a hidden update. They didn't tell anybody that they updated it. And that was just updated the first of the month of this month. So if you don't have something that I'm showing you, make sure you uninstall Sew It Pro and reinstall it again by using Microsoft Edge, I think is what it is now. It's not Internet Explorer anymore. Whatever Microsoft's browser is, and download it, or Firefox. And then you don't have to enter your code in all over again because you've already had it registered on your computer, and your updated stuff should show. So let's click on arrange text on a curve.
Okay.
All right, and so now here you have, this is a test, and here is your curve that you're working on. As you see, you can drag the curve around however you need it to. Okay, so do you want your text to be vertical or along the curve? All right, and so now it's saying split at letter 1. We don't want to split at letter 1. 1, 2, 3, 4, 6. We're going to say, I think, 6. this number 7 looks like. I don't know. Oh, we'll go back to 6. So you have different curve types that you can use. And unfortunately with this one, you kind of like play with it. So you move your upper and lower to get your stuff moved around how you want it. Oh, I said 6, didn't I? There we go. Letter 5. So you just move it with your, oh gosh, percentage and your arrow keys to shift it around how you want it to go. And notice it kind of like moves itself, but you get your basic curves down. And for the most part, I mean, that's pretty much it. It's not the easiest to use because see, look, here it is, and it's all crazy when it wasn't crazy before. Yeah, this one leaves some things to be desired, but there's oh, there we go. Look at that. No, that's what I did earlier. Hold on. How did she? So again, and then you know what? With me messing with it, I'm sure I messed it up too, changing the actual this part, these dragging the handle. So let's reset it. Oh, I want it to be along the curve. All right, and now we'll roll this right on around. Whoops, come on. And let's see if that looks better with me not messing with those red handles. And of course it doesn't. Yeah, the arch part is elusive to
Gotta
me.
play with it.
Right, and I did some with it, but I didn't try it myself. I was looking into it myself, reading the manual for it, and never actually tried it. But it's supposedly not that difficult. I just need to learn how to do it. Let me go back to the way it was. All right, there we go. So let's try something else. I'm gonna go here.
Did you say that those letters need to be separate for you to use that?
What I was told, yes. So let me try. Hold on. Oh, there we go. Okay.
I like that.
Actually, make sure I didn't read that wrong. Let's go merge. Nope, wrong. Sorry, edit. We'll go join. And we'll do starting with 13. But I'm pretty sure that's what I heard. So let's try it out. So this is 13 is all of them together. Yep, they have to be separate. You have to select 2 or more letters to distribute along a path.
Okay, thank you.
So they do have to be separated. And the arching, see, that's just the weirdest thing to me. Okay, there we go. I have not ever myself personally used the arch feature to do anything.
Okay.
I have not. So I will be the first to admit that was the one part of this program I had no desire. Is that the right word to use? I haven't wanted to use it. So I haven't really played with it very much. And the first time I did, I was frustrated with it. So I just left it alone. So what's that saying? You can't teach an old dog new tricks. So certain things, when you get in your comfort zone, you kind of leave it alone. But that's why this one was more of an advanced class to get myself used to it before I start trying to teach somebody else.
Okay.
More so than anything, honestly. But it is a lot more to it. So this one, as you see, you can arch, but you got to make sure that it is separated letters. So let's try this is the test. So let's TH THIS. Nope. Oh, look at that. That explains. No, it don't. That explains why. So let's go here and oh, I don't want to split. See, and to me, it doesn't go around the curve like it's supposed to. That one does better. But even in that needs work. So yeah, this one is not my favorite part of the program, but I was willing to learn it for y'all.
I'll just
I was
wait
willing to learn it for
patiently.
y'all.
I want to put it on the belly of a bear, and I was like, it was just so crazy. I'm like, I don't know how to do this. I'm just gonna wait.
Is it wording or is it just one word?
It's wording, you know, like the baby's name.
Okay, because
Full
like
name. I just wanted it like just like you have the test. I wanted it just like that.
right. And see, one word is easy to do. Well, not easy, but one word wasn't that difficult. It's when you're doing
That
all of these and then you have to tell it where to split, which like this doesn't look bad at all.
Right.
The automatic thing, but why does it come over crazy? You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So it's like certain parts of it, you just like, okay, see. And that's why even the part where you're typing in, when I was saying you can type it in under, what is it called? Because I don't use that part either. So lettering, that part just is not a good part of the program. It just really isn't. Here is another one where you really have to know what you're doing and hold your mouth right in order for it to work. Just like with the lettering, lettering, there are fonts that work really well with that part of this program. I don't know what they are, and you kind of have to go through them to find out. There are some people who use it enough and they know which ones work. But if you don't know, there's no book that says use these, but don't use those. You see what I'm saying?
Yes.
Yes.
So this is one of those features they added not too terrible, probably within the last year or two. More like year and a half. And
Eve, I'm looking at the help, and it was saying you must use separate colors for the words.
Oh, well, that makes sense too, I guess. Let's try that. Hey, I'm all down for experimentation. What I mean, I don't have. I mean, I got other stuff to do, but I don't have anything else to do. Let's try that. So we'll do pink for you. Do yellow. Well, okay. No, we'll do yellow. Whoops. And this will answer our questions, won't it? Hopefully.
Yes. We'll see. I don't have fonts loaded, so I can't test.
Okay. So now we have all colors. She said by word, right? So let's try this. This is a test. So that looks good. But then again, we've had it look good before. Actually, let me reset. All right, so we want it to go along the curve. We want it to arch. Not sure why it's splitting the letter, but this. And then the lower one, whoops. It looks like little ants marching, doesn't it? That's hilarious. Okay, so 50% for that one. And now let's try it out. Let's hit okay. Look at that.
No, same thing. Yeah.
That's crazy to me. And I know folks that get it to work perfectly. Perfectly. Matter of fact, she was one of the ones I was going to reach out to and be like, look, I know everything else about this darn program, but that. Can we get that going? So yeah, it's just, I don't know. I don't know what the, actually, let's try something. Because I don't know if that will work. Let's join threads. And, oh crap, I didn't mean to do it that way. Hold on. Okay. Now let's join threads. See if it works.
Oh.
Oh.
Let's see. Hey, let's not claim victory yet. Yeah, because see, look, the letter isn't, because they're joined together. Notice how the word "this" is going up at an angle. Mm-hmm.
Right.
It won't curve it. So yeah, it's interesting now. I've been wondering about this one, and I knew that it would be. I knew this one was going to take some planning on my part, more so than anything else.
Okay.
Uh-oh.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
Here we go. Look. Why is it all the way low at Jesus, y'all? Oh, Kingdom Come. So yeah, it's other than the little quirks, this is an excellent program, especially for the price.
Right, exactly.
Because our brilliance, I want to say, was 200 or something.
I paid $139 for it.
Oh, okay.
But
so they've come down.
right, but they are way up in the thousands. But the other one I got was that brother. I forgot what it was, and I paid $1,000 for that, and I have no clue how to do nothing. I don't even know if I uploaded the thing right.
Oh.
But now Embrilliance do have a free one, but like I said, when it's free,
right,
it all
right.
the
And
good
the
stuff.
free one is the one that for those few instances where I did want to type in, you can type in on the free one using the BX, save whatever it is that you typed in, and bring it over as a save file into Software Pro and use it.
Oh,
so
okay.
There's more than one way to skin that cat to keep from having to actually stand there and map those fonts in like that.
Right. Now the Soul Art, what is that one? I mean, I know you said not lettering, but so say like if I took a picture of a child, I can put that in and it'll embroider, it'll give me everything?
Yes. Now, with Soul Art, the program that you paid over $1,000 for, do you know if you said that was Brother though? That wasn't Wilcom. Like I paid that for it's a digitizing program. That's what Soul Art is. It's for digitizing. So yes, it takes an image, a logo, any of that, and changes it into an embroidery image file.
Okay.
Soul Art is similar to a lot of, Soul Art is an auto digitizer. So with an auto digitizer, you would have to put it in and it will automatically lay all your stitches and stuff out for you. You don't have to think hard. You don't have to do nothing. You just hit, I need these colors, go. And it'll digitize it for you. Will it digitize to the ultimate perfection of a qualified digitizer? It will not.
Okay.
Matter of fact, I don't know of a digitizing program out there. Even the one that I bought, Wilcom Hatch, which was over $1,000 when I bought it, it doesn't auto digitize perfectly at all. It really, digitizing really should be done by hand, so to speak. But that is, you're talking about months of training. There's one guy who says he can train you in a weekend, but in all honesty, it takes a lot of practice, a lot of training, and a lot of hands-on in order to become really good at it. It's more than just 1 weekend worth of training, in my opinion. But he's good enough where he could teach it, and get you at least going in a weekend.
Right.
But saying all of that to say, yes, you can digitize with Soul Art. And there's a one of our hoop group members, Stephanie, and for the life of me, I cannot remember her last name today. But Stephanie is in our group, and she has the YouTube channel Clever Dog Designs. So with Clever Dog Designs, she teaches how to digitize with Soul Art, and she teaches you how to fix the parts that aren't digitized the best. And she teaches you how to make it look much better. She even shows how to digitize, I think it was a picture of a flower or something like that. So she's really good. She's really good. And I refer people to watch her channel when they're trying to learn how to digitize with Soul Art. I don't teach how to digitize with Soul Art. I'm not a fan of auto digitizing, so I won't teach it.
Well,
And
this
besides, I
one
like
that I
her
bought
channel.
was what's it called? It's by Brother, but it's called the Dream Edition. It's the BES4 Dream Edition.
Somebody in the first class
Mhm.
asked, they had that program, they didn't have Sew What Pro, and she was trying to learn how to use that program, and I'm like, well, I mean, this is for Sew What Pro. I don't know what could, you know.
I can't use it. I think I uploaded it right. That's about it. But they do have classes, which is what I like where I bought the program at. But it's
That's
Tuesdays
good.
at noon. Who does that?
Yeah. But it may be advantageous, especially if it's digitizing aspects to it. You may find out that it digitizes better to your liking. Most people who digitize have 2 or 3 different programs that they've referred to or used off and on or whatever till they settled on their favorite. So you have that one. I would say for Soul Art, do the trial version and see how it.
Well, see, you don't get everything when you do the trial versions. That's why I'm just gonna. I mean, for $75, you can't go wrong.
That's true.
That's
That's
how.
true. Because Lord
Because
knows
and it's so
that.
funny when you first bought up a year or so ago, when I first heard you mention Sew What Pro, I looked at it, I said, I can't afford that program. It's $1,000. I don't know what I looked at. And so then I hopped my little happy behind down to the store and pay $1,000 for this one. I'm like, why that? Then when you said $65, I was like, wait a minute. That was a retarded move. But I had not uploaded it yet. But I'm gonna try it though. I'm gonna take the classes.
Give it a shot. Give it a shot. Because I mean, when I first started out, I was struggling to afford $65. So imagine how frustrated I was paying $250 for that machine because I got it on sale. And all of the software programs was well over $300, $400, $500 and up. That was crazy. I was at my wit's end because I could not figure out how to edit my own designs. And then one day, I don't know why, I just sat down and I put affordable embroidery editing program, and Sew What Pro popped up. And it's been love ever since because they actually, I was able to do everything I wanted to do editing wise with one program at an affordable price.
Well, it's definitely affordable, and I like it. Like I said, I just keep forgetting how to go back to some things. Like, how do you add that? But does that merge?
Yes, girl, yes, merge to save your life.
Yes,
it is. Okay.
Merge to save your life.
But I like the way you had the other one where you just see all the letters because I kept merge 1, merge 2. So
right. See, that info icon view is my favorite way to do it. But like I said, that's the old school way. Folks now they want to type it out on the keyboard, and I get that, especially if so I get that when you're typing out a poem or stuff where it's like a whole bunch of letters and sentences and stuff, and you just ain't trying to drag each one. I get it, but a name or a couple of words, to me is just to keep from having to map all of that stuff. I just rather just drag or click a letter and let it pop in by itself.
Right.
But again, to each his own. I'm not saying that's the wrong way or the right way to do it. It's just whatever makes you happy while you're working on it. That's what we're here to teach you how to do so that you can get it done. Other than arching text, of course. We got to, we got to learn that. So
I'm gonna learn that one.
The arching text.
I'm good with buying digitizing from other people.
Yes,
me too.
Now that's true too. That's true too, because the funny thing is, if you are digitizing for a customer, you pass the cost on to your customer. You're not coming out of pocket at all.
Or
So
time.
it's not hurting anything. Matter of fact, you kind of can even add to the price a little bit if you want,
Little service
you
fee.
know, and make a little bit of money off of that. But as far as you know, if you just have designs that you want digitized, that's where I found I was breaking the bank. Because at one point I came up with this whole line of designs. I was like, oh man, that would be cute. But he was like, okay, so it's $20 each one. And I'm talking about 10, 20. You know, I couldn't afford that. So I was like, okay, see, I need to learn how to digitize. So I learned enough so that I could digitize my designs. But my customers, I refer it out and I get them to pay for their own stuff.
But if my granddaughter was willing to learn, I would buy it. But at this age,
It's
the whole different school of thought. I'm not doing it.
It takes a lot of people. It takes a lot of time to learn. It really does. Because it's tedious. It's time. If you like artwork and doing graphic design, then digitizing would be right up your alley, and you could make decent money doing it. But if you're don't have the time to sit there and hand place stitches with a mouse and keyboard or a pen and pad, you know, because they got the electric pen and pad now, like with your tablet and the stylus, it's just is really not worth it. It just really isn't. So too many people out here that do digitizing affordably. At one point in time, digitizing was high, but now everything is affordable in that aspect. So
I gotta get it packed down.
yeah. So do you guys have any other questions for me?
I did want to ask you, Miss Eve, a while back you did a video on embroidering on towels, and you mentioned that in the So What Pro program comes like a little tack down pattern that you could do on the towel.
Yes.
I was wondering if you had time to talk a little bit about that.
Let's see if we can't pull that up. So with doing let me get rid of these. Actually, our letters.
I got like a gazillion towels over there.
Oh yeah, towels are that knockdown stitch is actually very it saves you from having to use stabilizer. Can you see no, you can't see my screen. You see me. It saves you on having to use the water soluble stabilizer. You don't have to use it.
That day that you did it, I was like, wow.
Okay, so now it's been a minute, so give me a sec. Let me find it. It has been a while actually since I've done this, but okay. So you would select your design, and then you go to tools, and then you add nap tech stitches. They call theirs nap tech stitches instead of tack down.
Oh, I see it. I see it.
And then once you select it, you will tell it, you know, first of all, how thick of a border do you want around your design? So you can drop it down as low as super close to it, or as wide out as you want it to be. And this is one of those instances where, if I remember correctly, it'll show you what it looks like, so you can play with that if you wanted to. So we're gonna go with 2, and your nap pile height, like our target towels, target are like thick and plush. So I would use a little bit thicker of a height, or your what is that? Those super fuzzy blankets, but the towel sticks up really tall. That's where you would use medium high. Okay. I don't necessarily worry about the nap angle as much. And select border shape. If I'm remembering correctly, they have predetermined shapes that you can use if you wanted to, but I would let's see, I don't think it'll do a square, but let's make sure. So here's your nap tech stitch properties, and we'll hit okay, and see how it goes around the cat. Now this area in here, don't ask me why it does that. I have no earthly clue why. Sometimes it'll do, like I said, there are parts of it where it's like, okay, we need some work. But for the most part, texture, that's what I was looking for. See, it did that cutout in there. And I think because it's like a whole section in there, but there's a way to do that. Oh, there we go. So let's see if we can't fix this part by doing what I think I did the one time before. It's been a while, so I want to make sure. It went smaller that time. So let's try this as well. But that's how you do a nap tack stitch according to them, or tack down stitch. Oh. And let's do this. That's nap angle. Okay. So you can go as wide around, look like it's filling in. So let's see what your Kit Kat looks like with a little bit bigger. So again, certain things you just play with it. Because have you used the border feature as well?
I've never used it, but if you.
Because one thing's for certain, remember when you pull in a design and you save it as the edited version first before you make any changes to it, you can change it however you want. You will not tear up the original file. You'll just have to remember some of the steps that you did, but you cannot tear up the original file.
I'm a note taker.
I'm trying to tell you. It's like the thicker I go around it, the more this little circle fills in.
Oh.
Is what I'm seeing.
I see that.
Not sure why per se. But that's how it's done. And if I can remember what I did to eliminate that from happening, I'll definitely let you know.
Thank you. Thank you, ma'am.
I just can't remember what I did. It was a while. Somebody somebody mentioned how they did that. But please be sure to go to Embroidery Library and get your free files. And be sure to go every month and get your free files. Also, once this video is done, once we're done in class, rather, it's going to save the recording, and I think it's going to save the recording. Lord, geez, I'm gonna be all kind of upset if it. Yes, it's a recording. So it'll save the recording, and it'll take it a minute to save all of that video footage. I'll edit it and then upload it to YouTube, and then email you guys a link to that video. In addition to the link in your email, you'll also receive your free font. Okay, so if you get the email with the link and you don't get the font, you're like, you forgot to attach the font, and I'll come back and make sure you get your font, because I pay for everybody to have that font. So you get a free Stitchtopia font to go with your class. So I'm super excited about that because it's a beautiful font. But what I will, again, what I'll suggest is go to any fonts from now on, make your life simple by going on and breaking up your embroidery fonts by size, because like in this instance, I'm gonna show y'all my little secret of what I do to make my life so much easier. So take, for instance, this is the font that you're gonna receive. It's called Juniper, okay? So Juniper, here is our 1/2 inch size, and I love the way she names her files because she names them to make this easy for you. So it's Stitchtopia Juniper 0.5 inch, and it's going to start with the ampersand. So we select, actually, let's not select that first one. I'm going to make a new folder in
where
the
you are.
Huh?
I'm trying to figure out where you at.
Oh, can you not see that?
No.
Sorry. I'm so sorry. Here, I'm going to share my screen. That's what I need to share. There you go. There you go. Ah, my bad. I'm sorry. Okay, so all I did was I went to where my embroidery fonts folder is, which is on my D drive. and I double click, and here is the file.
Mhm.
And when I open up the file for Juniper, because this is how you're going to get it too, it's going to be a PES, because you can, if you have a different machine, you know, you can pull it into Sew What Pro and save it as the file format you need. You can change them, and you can batch change all of them, which I love Sew What Pro for that. And I can show you that real quick too. But here is the the 1/2 inch font size. Okay. So to make life easier, all I did was make a new folder.
Mhm.
Okay. And you can do that by coming up to the very top of the file folder bar and clicking this button right here where it says new folder, or Control Shift and N, and it'll make a new folder inside the folder, which is right here. And then I'm going to select this first file, the 1/2 inch ampersand, and I'm going to click it again to make it highlight the name so that I could change the name if I want to, but I don't want to change the name. All I want to do is select this part. So I'm going to click inside it, and then I'm going to highlight just Stitchtopia Juniper 1/2 inch. Now I'm going to copy that. That's right click, copy. And then I'm gonna come up to this folder, and I'm gonna click twice on this one, and I'm gonna click paste. And that's what I'm gonna name that folder.
Okay.
Okay? Because all of the 1/2 inch characters are going to go in this folder. So now I can just go to the very first one, which is 1/2 inch ampersand,
Mhm.
hold down my shift key on the keyboard,
Mhm.
and drag it down. I'm gonna keep following this part right here where I'm seeing that 1/2 inch
Mhm.
until that 1/2 inch changes to 1.5. And I'm gonna click on this last one, which is the lowercase z.
Mhm.
I'm still holding down my shift key and click here, and now it's selected all of them. So there's a couple of things I can do. Now I can right click and hit cut, go back up to that folder, select it, right click, and hit paste. And notice all those 1/2 inches disappeared.
That was
So
wonderful.
now all of the 1/2 inches are in their folder where they're supposed to be.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so when I go into Sew What Pro and I pull up this font, and I know I'm only going to use the 1/2 inch size when I'm putting in the letters, why do I need to pull up all these other sizes? I don't. So to
Yeah.
make it easier,
Oh, okay. That's how you.
Mhm.
Okay.
And it organizes it much, much
Yes,
better.
it does. Yes, it does. And it helps you no matter which option you use for Sew What Pro. So I'll show you that when we come back into Sew What Pro. For instance, even if I wanted to do the info icon view, let me merge in the first letter. So I'm going to go back to my Juniper folder,
Mhm.
and here's the 1/2 inch. And I'm going to pull in the letter D and open it up. And here it is in Sew What Pro.
Okay.
So now that I merged in the first letter out of that folder, now when I go to info icon view, which is right over here at the top, the icon info pane, click that button. Now here, look, right here over the top, embroidery fonts, Stitchtopia Juniper 1/2 inch. Here's all my 1/2 inch letters right here.
Nice.
I don't have to scroll through. So say for instance, let me close this out, and I'm gonna show you what it looks like difference wise. So now let's merge, and I'm gonna merge in from the main folder. Now here's the one that I made, but this folder has 1.5 inch, 1 inch, 2.5 inch, 3 inch. It's got all of those. So now I'm gonna do the capital T in 1.5 inch, and I'm gonna merge that one in. So here's my capital T. So I want to do 1.5 inches for the letter today. When I come to info icon view now, here's the Juniper 1/2 inch folder. Let me move that one out the way so that it'll be out the way. Now here is, that's banana cupcake. Okay, now here's the Juniper folder. And look, all of those sizes are in this one folder. So I got to figure out what's the right size.
Oh yeah.
I don't know which one is which,
Mm-hmm.
you know, and that's annoying because you shouldn't have to figure it out. So to keep yourself from going through that, just make the separate size folders, and it's just as easy as making another folder. Click for a new folder. We already got that one. We know our next size is going to be 1.5 inch, so I'm gonna select that to highlight it. Grab the first part, copy, come here, click one time, click one time again. It's not double click, just click twice. And there's the second one. Grab the first one, scroll down till it changes to 1 inch, which is right here. Hold down your shift key, click the last one, the lowercase z. That's all of them. Here's another thing you can do. Instead of cut and paste, you can grab this first one and drag it up there. Boom, they're all gone, just that quick. So there's a couple of ways to do it. If you know how to use Windows, then you're familiar with how to navigate and do all this file folder arranging and stuff. But it just makes your life so much easier when it comes to using either mapping a font or trying to use the info icon view. And trust me, when this isn't the right computer, but if I had you on my other computer and you see all the fonts that I got, you'll understand why I just choose not to map all them fonts, because it's ridiculous. It's sad because none of the rest of my fonts are in their own. Some font digitizers will put them in their own size folder by the size, but most of them do not. So that being the case, you would have to go through and do each size yourself, and it's a lot, but it's worth it in the end. But you'll have to, like I said, sit down with a couple of cups of coffee and have time on your hands and get it done. But you'll be better organized to do it. Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. I can't create in chaos. It has to be nice and smooth, you know.
I'm used to creating in chaos. So I can't, you know, that's just, I mean, I just go based off of what I'm used to. But that's pretty much how that works. That's pretty much how that works.
Thank you.
So I appreciate y'all joining me for this. We went well over our time. I'm pleased. I'm pleased because that lets me know you were interacting and you wanted, you know, to get what you needed to know out of it.
Yes.
So like I said, you will get a link to this video. It'll be on YouTube though. It'll be a private YouTube link that only you guys will have, and whoever else paid for this class. Right. So that you can go back, take notes, or whatever you need to do. And then eventually we will have a
second part
by itself video where people can come and take training videos on using Sew Pro. And because you guys helped me get all this laid out and make sure I'm answering questions that I think you guys will come up with, then it makes it easier for the rest of the folks as they, you know, take that training. But y'all got to do it with me, girl.
Yeah. You know what? For the 18th, I actually paid for 2 classes because I thought I was going to forget or whatever. But I don't think I will.
We'll refund it and we'll get it back on.
Bless someone with it.
Oh Lord, no, she didn't. Girl.
Yeah, just bless
someone. She
did.
Girl, you did bless somebody.
Because like I said, somebody might want to take it.
We'll open up a slot for somebody if they want to take it.
I'm getting a girlfriend of mine to buy the class. I was going to tell her to do it, but she's slow.
Oh.
She told her she needs it, and so she's been watching your page constantly for the last 2 or 3 days, asking me questions. I'm like, you better get on that class.
Well, tell her reach out to me that you told her to reach out to me, and we'll put her in one of the later classes, and so that she can learn it. Okay. And you guys, I tell you what, definitely, I'm gonna send you an email when I figure out that arch thing and get it down.
Yeah, because you know, it's your fault because I've been wanting to do her.
Okay.
Oh, you put the baby.
And I was supposed to take it back to. I was supposed to go take it back to North Carolina this weekend. I'm like,
this weekend. Oh no, you coming this way?
Yeah, I was there last weekend. I was in Albemarle last weekend. Had a good
Oh,
time.
okay, okay.
Yeah. Then
Which
I went
part are
to
you coming
Durham
to
to see
this
my.
weekend? Same?
I was gonna go to Albemarle, back to Albemarle, and then, but this one has to be in Durham. So
Oh, okay. My
yeah.
goodness, you driving all over the place.
Well, see, I'm
Okay.
from Roxborough.
Oh, are
Oh,
you?
okay.
Yeah, I'm from Roxborough. So yeah, so
Awesome.
I and my family's in, a lot of them is in Durham now.
Okay,
Hmm.
okay.
So
That
most of
makes
my
sense. That makes sense.
97-year-old aunt. So I have to go see her.
Oh, bless her. Bless her.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's longevity right there, girl. That's good news.
Mm-hmm.
How
Okay,
you doing, Miss Ethel Smith? Miss
I'm
Shonda
doing
Snow,
fine.
thank you.
I've
Good,
been
good.
quiet because I'm wanting to catch up what's going on. Uh, the arch. You were saying no. The reason I'm saying that because you were saying and two, the soul lettering it does
Yeah.
it too.
The soul lettering is not a good part at all. I mean,
Uh-huh.
that's commonly known, unfortunately.
Oh.
Even the owners of it are like, yeah, don't use that part. Because it's auto digitizing the fonts that are on your computer,
Uh-huh.
and it just doesn't.
It doesn't.
Like I told the other class, the programs that they created to help you digitize fonts is in the
Hmm.
thousands of dollars, right? So
Yeah, I know.
you
I have had.
kind of can digitize with the little $1,000 program I have, but it's certain letters and you have to like do it yourself stitch by stitch. But those programs are made for that.
Oh,
It
okay.
can predetermine those curves and all the other jazz. But
Oh,
for it to automatically do it with the fonts that are built in on your computer, it's just everybody knows it's just not good. So what
oh,
I suggest is you can try it. I
oh, I
mean,
did. I did. Yeah,
yeah,
that's what I was
yeah.
asking.
Did it work good for you?
For what I did, it did, but then I had to send it to somebody to digitize it for me.
Yeah. So try it, but
Mhm.
when you're playing yourself, you know what I'm saying? You're not
Right.
doing something super serious and it don't matter if it gets messed up or whatever the case may be. And then if it stitches good, then hey, that font works. Put a little pin in that and you know that you can use that later for whatever, project that you're coming up against.
Oh,
But if you
okay.
come up with some of these other fonts and you trying them and it just turn out like trash, then yeah, no, I'm not using that font no
Well,
more.
I will not be using it. I'm gonna work with you with that arch.
Yeah. The arch, we're gonna get that because I've seen that successfully used and I know it's successfully used.
Mm. Well, I'll be
But
using it.
it's just I haven't been practicing that or using it very much at all. So I know the basics and how it's supposed to work. I'll put it that way. I know how it's supposed to work. But for someone who uses it all the time, I much rather refer to them and learn from someone who uses it all the time. And then I can say, hey, this is why it was coming back into our program looking all retarded and not in place because I didn't do it this way or that way. And then you guys will know. But I'm going to definitely link y'all in that. Everybody else will have to take the advanced class to learn it.
Oh, okay.
Ooh,
I'm gonna
Yep.
definitely work with it.
I feel special.
Y'all are special. Y'all are special.
I'm telling you.
But
That's-
thank y'all so much. I always enjoy meeting with everybody. And
It was a good class. It was
thank
very
you.
It
Great
was.
place.
Thank
Yes.
you.
It was. I liked it.
Thank you very
Yes,
much.
thank
Thank you.
you.
Thank you, Miss E.
You're welcome.
you're
And
very good.
Kawana, thank you. And am I
You're
pronouncing
so
it
good.
right? Tanisha?
Kawana?
No,
It's
I got
Tanish.
Kawana. I got a friend named Kawana.
Okay.
But is
Okay.
it Tanisha?
It's Tanish.
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 Okay. Hey,
Oh,
Tanish.
Tanish.
How you doing?
Good, how
You
you
good?
doing?
I'm gonna send a poll out. It's a automatic poll. If you wish to take it, it's fine. If you don't, there's no worries. And just let me know quick feedback so that we can know what needs to be done and what needs to be improved. And we'll go from there and we'll know what's what. All right. So I appreciate y'all.
So
I
this will
hope
be
you have a
this the
great
poll that come
night.
to the email. The poll
Huh?
that come to the email.
It came online just now.
Yeah, it should pop up on your screen.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I just clicked it. I did mine.
I did
If
mine
it
too.
if it didn't come up, no worries. You can email me and let me know. it's pretty much saying how confident do you feel using So What Pro now that you've had a beginner's class on it. And let me know
I
what you
like
think.
this. So we're gonna do part 2 for this class, correct?
Oh yeah, part 2 is coming.
Yeah.
I gotta get through
Keep
these
our
part
hands
1
together.
first.
Yeah.
Yes,
Keep our
I like-
hands together and
I'll-
send us a little email because we tried pretty good.
That's cute. Okay, I'll keep that in mind. And then what I'm going to do for the people who have already taken the part 1 class, they won't pay full price for the next class. Okay,
Well, thank you.
so that's another plus as well. So
Oh,
we trying
Thank you very
to
much.
Thank you.
show appreciation. Y'all didn't
Yes.
have to take the class, but I appreciate that you did. So thank you.
I'm glad you gave the class. because
you.
Thank you.
I
I
needed it.
needed it.
Mhm.
Well, y'all
was
have
good.
a good night.
That is
I'm getting
all.
ready to
Okay.
process this video, edit it,
You
so I
on
can
Sunday.
go to bed.
You do the same. Good night, ladies.
Me too.
Night.
Night.
Have a good night.
Bye.
Good night. Thank
Bye.
you.
Bye.